I'm Seth. This is Acquired Salary, the best living through career mastery. In today's video, we're going to react to a TikTok that's exposing the reality of the job market that's supposedly so great right now. So we'll watch together, then reconvene, and I'll tell you what I think and what we can learn from it.
So if you live in the United States right now, you understand that we're going through a job market disaster, a fucking crisis. But I'm about to expose everyone. So starting with if you're a hiring manager or you're in hiring practices, fuck you. And secondly, I'm exposing companies and the games that they're playing from personal experience. So this will be one of my only videos today because so far I'm 1,600 job applications in, and once I post this video, I'm gonna go apply for another few hundred. And this is what's going on. So first and foremost, these companies are saying that they're urgently hiring, but yet they're rejecting everyone, and then they're reposting the job that they're urgently hiring for like a month or two later. What's up with that? Genuinely, there's been theories and comments that I've had saying that it's because companies are getting paid to do this, that they're profiting from it. I don't understand how, but just a theory. But my question is why? And second, another thing I'm going to expose is what these companies are doing is they're sending you through. I can't even begin to tell you the amount of times where they'll have you for an initial interview. So I passed the first round, right? Passed the second round, passed the third round. I'm like 2 weeks in to a company, like in their interview process. I'm at like interview number 4. And then they just go, yeah, sorry, no. Or they don't even get back to me at all. I shit you not. There have been multiple companies where I'm going to like the 4th round of interviews and then they just never get back to me ever again. I'm like, what the hell, right? So out of the 1,600 jobs I've applied to, I've had one salary job offer that was around $41,000 a year to sell phones in Costco. I rejected that job offer. I turned that down. And I've been offered 3 1099 positions, which means I don't get paid hourly or salary. I just get paid on if I can make a sale. The other thousands of jobs that I've applied to, I've either been rejected or been played with through the interview process or just never heard back from. So it's fucking crazy. Another thing I'm going to expose is college education. They don't seem to care at all that I have a business degree applying for marketing or management, any of these roles. All they care about is your work experience. So if you're currently in college and you're seeing this as maybe a sign to drop out, do it. Do it. Not financial advice, but do it. I'm in my last semester of college, and if I would have known, going back what I know now, I probably wouldn't have gone through 4 years of college. Just being honest. And finally, for those of you saying, oh, you're not doing the right processes or steps, fuck you. Because me and thousands of other people are literally trying everything. From applying online, to calling companies, to going to job fairs, to I literally go from business to business. For minimum wage jobs. And I give up my resume and I talk to the manager and they go, oh yeah, well, either we're not hiring right now or they're like, oh yeah, you seem like a nice guy. Put in your application online. So I do that, get rejected. I'm not applying for over 6-figure jobs. I'm applying for minimum wage positions. Fuck!
Okay, so we can all see the immense frustration Hunter's facing. I believe that anyone in this situation would be pretty frustrated. I mean, applying to 1,600 jobs and not having any positive results. But can we really assign this anecdotal data any weight? Well, personally, I think it's just another cherry on top. You know, looking at talent or recruiting specialists, a lot of them are still talking about how their experience with the job market has not turned around yet. So this is just an additional data point to support the fact that the job market sucks. Some people, like the news and political media, like to point to the Federal Reserve's data and say, this data says it's great. Well, although the Federal Reserve is reporting strong job numbers in the JOLTS report, once you dig into these numbers include part-time jobs as well as contract work, which for the vast majority of people, I would say that's not the type of employment that they're seeking. And then the unemployment rate does not consider people that are underemployed. So they have a job, but they're not working as much as they need to cover their living expenses, which have dramatically increased with inflation. And I think if you've been paying attention, we've all seen a lot of these Fortune 500 companies. They've conducted mass layoffs, and then shortly after the fact, they've replaced those full-time positions with part-time positions or contract work. And even if they have replaced a full-time position with a previous full-time position, they're cutting the pay, even though inflation is rampant. So I think it's safe to say that, yes, the job market sucks. With that said, it seems to me like Hunter's mass applying to positions. Although he talks about being in his last semester of college, even with little job experience and a general degree, that would theoretically qualify him for a lot of entry-level positions where they simply require a bachelor's. It's pretty obvious that mass applying doesn't work. You know, if you can one-click apply, so can everybody else. And so that's what everyone's doing. And, you know, mass applying sounds nice in theory, but it doesn't work for multiple reasons. First off, recruiters often don't even see your resume because thousands of people are applying to these positions, so they have to rely on applicant tracking systems to sort out the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. But they're far from perfect. So if your resume isn't targeted, then you're really going to struggle to get eyes on your resume. I think a perfect example, I tried to find it through my social media feed. I couldn't find a screenshot of it, but from that standpoint, someone had originally worked on the first Pixar film, and they were starting to resource people to work on the second one, and this candidate was rejected, even though he previously worked on the original film. I think, if anything, that would qualify you for the position, but his resume wasn't as targeted as it probably should have been, and so he had got automatically rejected by the applicant tracking system. So, you know, if you are in a job search and you've been winging it or mass applying like this, it's time to get specific, like target specific companies or specific industry. Don't just apply online through job boards like LinkedIn or Indeed, Glassdoor, Monster, any of those. And I would recommend using the power of LinkedIn to get an internal referral. So once you've secured an internal referral, then you can go ahead and apply on the company's dedicated career site, even if it's Workday. But it takes a lot of work to reach out to people on LinkedIn and have networking discussions, but I would say the vast majority of people are open to quick discussions about their experience at a company. So once you've identified a target company, try and find if you have any mutual connections or second connections at the company. Once you have identified some second connections, you know, just do a quick look over their LinkedIn and see if you have anything in common. If you find something in common, then you can personalize your outreach, and that makes it so much more likely that they're going to actually be open to having this networking discussion. And if the conversation goes well, you can close this out with asking them for an internal referral, and they're going to be pretty likely to be open to this because a lot of companies provide an incentive for internal referrals. So it's a win-win situation. You get the referral, and then they get a little bit of a bonus on the back end if you get hired. So this moves into the next point of answering the question of why do companies claim they're urgently hiring just to reject all applicants and reopen positions a few weeks later? Well, a part of this is because publicly traded companies want to look like they're doing well. And having a ton of job postings leaves the impression that they're doing well and they're growing, which can potentially boost stock price and therefore make them profit. So there is a little bit of a perverse incentive there. I discussed this in more detail in my Ghost Jobs video, which you can check out after this one if you're interested. The other part of the answer is evergreen requisitions. So, for example, an evergreen rec is going to be a position that potentially has high turnover. So technically they are always hiring for the position. And then also companies will sometimes open recs to collect resumes and build up a candidate pool for that position that they may open in the future. Building a candidate pool is like a positive for the business, but it's unfortunately a short-sighted business decision. And yeah, so the business gets the great experience of as soon as they open the position, they can place a candidate much quicker because the real rec has already collected all the resumes from the previous rec. But it's absolutely terrible candidate experience. Like, people apply, they get hopeful that they're going to, be considered for a role, but it's not really a role that's going to be filled until a later date, which at that point they're potentially going to already have a different position. The next point that he makes that I have to respond to is the fact that he's been applying to entry-level positions, but then he has 4 interviews. Like, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I firmly believe that if a position pays less than $80K, if not 6 figures, then it really should just be an initial phone screen with the recruiter or talent acquisition specialist and 1 interview. That said, if he's talking about a back-to-back panel interview with multiple individuals all in one session, that's really just 1 interview with the hiring group or the hiring team. The more senior a role becomes, the more common it is for kind of a 4-interview application process. So that's going to break down into a phone screen with the recruiter, an interview with the hiring manager, then a panel interview, and the last checkoff is with the senior leader. So that's the final interview. Regardless, the number of job interviews, regardless of the number of job interviews, the true competence of an employee can't be determined until they're actually in the job, especially considering companies and how they train people once they're hired on. So it really boils down to if an individual is going to embrace a growth mindset and maintain their ability to learn, because the rest of it is on management and leadership to establish those clear expectations and create a system of accountability so the individual can be successful in their role. The next couple of points he makes are about rejecting a job selling phones for $41K a year. I obviously don't have the job posting in front of me, but that really sounds like a position he could have gotten right out of high school. So it's obvious he's going to reject that because that would make the whole going to college for 4 years a waste of time. And then he goes on to talk about dropping out of college. I posted a short on collegescorecard.ed.gov, and I'll be making a full video on it soon. So subscribe if you want to see that. But the non-tailored advice of dropping out of college because it might not be worth it probably isn't the best general advice. If I had to give general advice, I would say do the economic cost-benefit analysis based on the data from College Scorecard. And that'll allow you to make the best decision in your specific situation. In addition to that, if you go to college, be sure you're doing something that will set you apart. Like a general business degree without any work experience, without an internship or something along those lines isn't necessarily a huge differentiator given the number of people that are graduating each year. So, pick up a job or an internship that builds transferable skills so that you can set yourself apart from the competition. And then if you're studying a STEM degree, you should absolutely do everything in your ability to participate in research, because this not only gives you something to highlight on your resume for job interviews, but it can also make you more competitive if you decide to go pursue a master's or PhD. Essentially, this is a high leverage opportunity because it opens multiple doors at once. So really, when you're in college, that's what you want to focus on, is focusing on the high leverage opportunities like internships or work experiences that are going to open multiple doors for you. I think we can all see how frustrating of a situation this guy's in, but I think a little self-reflection would be able to help him dramatically change his situation. So what do you think? Please share your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. And if you've made it this far into the video, you may as well like the episode and share it with a friend that you think would find this message interesting. And then while you're at it, you should check out the video I've done on self-reflection to see the process that Hunter should be applying to his job search so that he can get his first job a little bit faster. Thank you. Until next time.